We got to this one address. I said, this one goes around back. He went around back, boom, drove off, left them right at the stop.
That was after getting hit by a car. That was
another. You got hit by a car?
I ended up drinking 24 Bud Lights in about 48 minutes. Drunken nomad stumbles out in the road and he hit me going 30 miles an hour.
What's up, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of All in a Delivery. This is episode 130. And guys, real quick before we get going, just want to give a huge shout out to our Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the family and hanging out and supporting our show. So a huge shout out. I was about to say Tony's name. Huge shout out to Tony, Sam, Starla, Luke. Thank you guys all so much for
Sam and Jacob support as well, right?
Oh, and Jacob. Jacob's the new one.
Did you say Sam?
I'm sorry, Jacob. I did say Sam after Tony. Tony, Sam, Starla, Luke, and Jacob. Thank you guys. Appreciate you all. If you want to become part of the Patreon family, click the link in the description below, patreon.com/AITDpod. Come hang out, exclusive content, all that good stuff. But enough of that good stuff, because we got even better stuff on the way. We got a special guest joining us. But first, let me introduce you guys, my co-host down in West by God, Virginia, Luke. How are you, buddy?
Well, like trying to line these up right, because for any of the old listeners, I think they know when they hear these in December, we try to pre-record them because we normally don't record during peak season. And for the new listeners, this will be not that far dated when you hear it, but a little bit. But yeah, it seems I can't be 100% for the December episode so far yet, because I picked up something. I'm not bad. Like I got through the week. The end of the week was all right. Like Friday, I felt it. They didn't like. We've been light here, so they've actually called. They didn't call me on Friday, but they called me literally maybe not every day, but anyway, I got through and then felt a little crappier, but I don't feel that bad now. But I apologize if I don't hit the mute button fast enough, because you might hear me hacking a little bit. But other than that, I'm doing fine, brother. I'm excited for this one. This is one now we've talked about now. Whenever that one of the question of the week episodes, and we talked about it prior, so I'm excited for who we got on tonight, and I'll go ahead and let you proceed.
Absolutely. So thank you, brother. And yeah, I'm excited for this one as well. This is gonna be fun. Very unique story ahead. So guys, let me introduce to you guys our special guest. You guys may have seen her on Instagram. She goes by the name Gimme More Cosplay. How are you today?
I'm alive and kicking, man. It's been a week.
Absolutely.
Just from question of the week answers, we've read in recent episodes. I'm like, to say it's been a week, I can only imagine what kind of week that it's been, because it just to say real quick, because I believe it was almost 500 miles you drove in one day, right? You answered that was one that you said.
So I ended up actually doing the math, and it was about like 470. So I lied. I was short by 30 miles. I'm sorry, but yeah,
that's so wild to me.
Yeah, it's crazy long drives.
That's insane. Just to
set the tone for. But go ahead. What was going on this week?
So I currently live in Colorado, and we experienced a beautiful blizzard and winter storm for the past 4 days, and I was lucky, and I did not work that. I'm a Tuesday through Saturday driver, so I did not work Tuesday or Wednesday, and I came in on Thursday and Friday, which were the 2 worst days, and it got so bad. We have rural routes and in-town routes, so we have the mountain rural routes, and then we have the out east, which is like flatlands rural routes. On a Friday, the worst day, we only ran 3 out of about the 7 to 8 out east routes, and then the mountain routes in one of the towns in the mountains that normally is 3 routes. We had 6 people. We divided all 3 of those routes in half. And even then, by 4 o'clock, I had called all my coworkers. I'm like, "Are you guys okay out here?" And they're like, "Heck no!" And I was like, "All right, I'm calling this." And I had all of us meet up at the grocery store, and I sent in the message. I'm like, "I'm bringing everyone in. This is unsafe. I don't care what you said." And like, cause my other coworkers on the phone, and they're like, "You need to call it on road." And my on road, like, they were making it so like, maybe you could last. And I was yelling, and I'm pretty sure my supervisor could hear me from my other truck yelling. And I was like, "We're freaking leaving now." And like 10 minutes later, they sent out a message to all the mountain drivers saying to come back in. And then when we got in, they wouldn't let us leave. And then they were making us unload trucks and just sitting around doing nothing. And because they were trying to see if they can send us back out to like help in town. And then finally, one of my union series came, and I'm like, "I'm leaving. My roads are about to close to get home. I'm leaving." And finally, my new center manager, bless his soul, he was like, "That's it. I'm calling everyone in. This is too much. Everyone's coming in." And that was at like 6 o'clock. So it was supposed to be a 14-hour day. It was a nice 9-hour day.
They just sit there and they're like
calling everybody in.
Well, yeah, but the fact that they hold them, like, maybe the blizzard won't get as bad. Like, the roads are already fucked.
It's not like the highways are closed. The airports are closed. Shoot, McDonald's was closed. I'm pretty sure Waffle House was closing too. So,
see, and that's serious shit. That if Waffle House closes down, even when you said McDonald's, I know. Holy shit, yeah. And nobody going to be out that day.
So, like, how many inches of snow did you get so far?
It depends where. So, my house, I probably got anywhere from 8 to 12. I think out east got about 2 feet. And then in the mountains, depending on where in the mountains, because we go pretty far out, anywhere from 2 to 3 feet. Yeah. Fuck. I was literally knee deep delivering, and I called. I was like, if their driveway's not plowed, I'm freaking out. Look at that.
That's my cousin. My cousin lives in Colorado, and she put that on her Facebook. So she's out there around where you're. But yeah. If
no one plowed their driveway, I didn't get out of my truck. I was just truck on, easy.
Oh my goodness.
It was gnarly.
I don't even want to think about it yet. I don't even want to think about snow yet. Like, over here in New York, like, maybe we'll get a dusting or something like through the month of December. But then, like, God, I can't even think about snow like before peak. It just makes me want to throw up.
But we've always ask on here, and I think I know, but you guys, they allow you guys to run chains, right? Like, if you
they
have
make
to go.
us run chains, which we shouldn't even be going out if we have to put chains on. That's my humble opinion, and that's a fight for another day. But currently, like, I had my mechanic. I was like, I've only touched chains one time, so here you go. I had him put it on. So if anything happened, it wasn't my fault.
I can't disagree with that anymore. As somebody that was such an avid person for using those, like, when I started driving, probably not when I very first started driving, probably like year 1 or 2, but it's been a while now. And like, I've told that story before where I almost went in a river because I had chains on, and like, I was on a hockey rink of a road. And like, but the thing with them though is like going uphill. I've said it a bunch on here. Like, you can go, but coming down, like, there's times like I know my route well, and then there's times like I don't really I can't think of the last time because we didn't have that bad of a winter last year, but I remember this guy was coming, like I was going down a hill, and when you're going down, they don't really help. You're still going to slide. So I don't disagree with that in the way that they are now. That maybe one day that'll happen, but I wouldn't hold my breath. But it's not a bad idea though, for real.
Dude, like I remember, like my dad told me a story one time when like he was like he had to go down this one hill and it was snowing, and he literally told his helper, he was like, listen, I want you to get out, I want you to go down to the bottom of the hill, and I want you to stop traffic just in case this truck does not stop.
Oh my gosh.
Because there's an intersection at the bottom, and he's like, I want you to get out there, I want you to stop traffic just in case if my truck does not stop. God, I'm not looking forward to it. It's the worst time of the year to be a driver.
I can't even. God. And I feel like we used to get bad winters here, and we still will from time to time. But I can't say anything. Our weather's soft compared to what you're dealing with right now. Like it's
80.
Well, not anymore. It was in the 60s today, but way above freezing still. So but that just. I'm glad that you got everybody together as a group out there, because I feel like that makes them easier for them, that they have to kind of say yes, like come in if you. But
and that's exactly what I told them. I'm like, if one person does it, they can get in trouble. If we all do it, what are they gonna do? Punish us all?
Yeah, so that was smart to do it that way.
Well, of course, you gotta use the key phrase. It's not safe. Put that word in anything, you're good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's it. So speaking of like higher temperatures and stuff, you actually started off in a whole nother climate. I cannot talk now. I am so shot. I just got back from the casino because it's my birthday. My parents are up. We were at the casino earlier. We went out to dinner, so I'm just all buzzed up and shit right now. So I apologize for my speech. But yeah, so take us back a little bit if you can. You've had I feel like because all fair, you told us you grew up in California. You moved to Hawaii. I mean, you've been all over the map here. So take us back to the beginning, growing up in Cali.
Yeah, so I lived me and my family, we lived in California. So my dad's from Wisconsin. He moved to California. He works in the movie industry. So, like, basically every movie that you know from Avatar, the Blue People, back, he's worked on in the set process. So, like, Spider-Man, X-Men, Avatar, Larry the Cable Guy, Mars Attacks, like... all those Attacks, I love Mars Attacks. But yeah, all those movies, there's something in there that he built or he worked on in there. And now he currently works for the company Leica, which is a stop motion animation. Their most popular movie is Coraline. So, but yeah, he moved out to California to do that. Met my mom. I have an older brother, and we lived in California for a while in, like, I'd say probably 15 minutes away from Magic Mountain. Moved to Hawaii, to Kauai, for about 2 years, and then we moved back to California, and then for some reason my mom was like, let's go to Vegas, let's live in Vegas. So so we moved to Vegas. And we lived by Lake Las Vegas, and then family, my mom and dad got divorced, so then my mom and my brother, we ended up living in people who are from Vegas. We ended up moving to Russell and Boulder, which is like ghetto. It's like there's literally a place called the Crack Castle, because it's like a motel living place that literally looks like a castle. It's off of I think it was like Stephanie and Boulder, and it literally looks like a castle. And people who are from Vegas, they will know what I'm talking about. It looks like a castle, and it's just a lot of druggies live there, so it's called Crack Castle. So, I ended up wanting to, when I was in high school, I was in Marine Corps JROTC, and I became super gung-ho about joining the Marine Corps, and I was like, Semper Fi, I'm doing it, blah, blah, blah. In my process of joining, I had I took forever, never did join because they took forever with my paperwork. And my best friend who lives in Indiana, he was a package car driver at that time. He's now currently a feeder driver out there. And he was like, hey, it's peak season. It's like 2019. He was like, it's peak season. Why don't you go just drive for peak? And I was like, yeah, I need money. Let's do it. So I would go work with this awesome guy who just retired. His name's Pat. We would deliver to Lake Las Vegas. He taught me how to use the Dyad, and he was like, you should be a driver. And I was like, nah, you gotta drop me off my car. I gotta go to PT. So he would drop me off. I go to PT. I come back to help him finish his route. And then eventually he actually got me a job like probably 3 months after peak in the warehouse. And then COVID was about to hit, so they were hiring drivers. And I was like, yeah, my best friend Sean was like, just put it in, see what happens. And then now I'm a UPS driver. And here I am with a career. And I was like, wow, hello.
I feel like that was such a good time for a lot of people to get in too.
As bad as COVID was, I'm also like, I'm thankful for COVID because I wouldn't have a career if COVID didn't happen. That I wouldn't have been a driver by now. I probably wouldn't have been able to transfer. As bad as COVID was, it was very good in my standings, if that makes sense.
No, I get it because we did it. There's a lot of people in our building too that were, because we had to hire. It was because of what it was. It helped, and that was in our line of work. Yeah, that was definitely a good. If there's a positive we can say that came out of that, then that's definitely one of them. Is it got a
peak
lot of
season 2.0.
Yeah, to say the least.
Exactly.
But yeah, it got a lot of people on the road. Yeah, sorry, Dave. Just wanted to throw
No, it's all right. No, so Hawaii for 2 years. What was that like?
Oh, it was nice. I was in elementary school at this time. I went to Kapa'a Elementary. It was so nice. I'm a big so me and my dad were big surfers and whatnot. And
awesome.
And so I didn't get to go surfing in Hawaii because I was too young, but my dad did, and I'm jealous. But just beach stuff. I remember there's frogs everywhere in Hawaii, and so at night you walk on grass and you just squish a bunch of frogs. But
oh my
yeah,
God.
it's insane how many frogs are out there. I remember there's this giant toad on my neighbor's house, and me and the kids would just go play with a giant toad that lived there for a year and then all of a sudden disappeared. There was dead chickens on my school roof, and it was just very random and wild, but it was nice. It was very nice and homey.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Never been to Hawaii.
It's so nice.
Oh, I'd like to. That's a bucket list one for me. We got to get out there sometime. That'd have been a time to be in elementary school. Hell, I couldn't imagine. It'd been scenery wise, that'd have been incredible.
Oh yeah, it was great. Yeah. I'm shocked at how much I remember from there too. I have very specific, detailed memories too, so it's nice.
That's awesome. So, and then obviously continuing where you left off, starting there just around the COVID time, put in your application. You're a driver now. How long were you in that center for? So
the center I started at, I was probably there for 4 to 6 months. And then, so in Vegas at that time, we had 2 centers. The one I was in had we had 2 hubs, and then the hub I was currently in had 4 centers. I was out of the Tropicana. There was Tropicana, Paradise, Horizon. And I feel like there was one more, but I can't remember. But I know there's those 3 because I just remember specifically Paradise. It's another day in Paradise, and I'm like, I'm glad I don't work in that center. I'm glad I don't work there. And then we had the other hub, which is called Red Rock. It was just one big center at that time. So then we had to build another one because of how big Vegas got, and that was called Lone Mountain. I'm pretty sure it's still there. I don't know if they have that same building because they were renting it. But when they built that building, not enough people transferred over there, and they didn't have enough hirees, I guess. So a lot of people got forced transferred to move a bunch of places. And because I was bottom of the totem pole, I got forced to move to Red Rock, which is also known as, part of my language, the devil's asshole, because it is miserable. There's no windows. There's no light. It's off of MLK next to Fremont, which is another terrible area to be in. it was just terrible.
Oh my gosh.
So
The devil's asshole. Love it.
so yeah, I got forced transfer over there. And it was, I mean, it was a blessing and a curse. Supervisors there. There was like 2 supervisors I like. They're no longer there anymore. I think one of them became a feeder supervisor. The other one, as soon as I transferred, he quit. And I was like, join the team. Join the team of leaving. But like supervisors over there, they're probably great people, but supervisors, they're garbage. My saving grace was my center manager. Center manager I had at my previous one at Tropicana. He got forced transferred to Red Rock. So he followed along, and he was a phenomenal dude. Anytime like I had to file harassment grievance, I'd bring in my evidence, and he's like, leave her alone, like just let her do her job. And I was like, the center manager, I've never had such a good center manager.
No, that's always good. That's always awesome to have some, like, because then it's like, he has your back.
Mm-hmm.
When you have, I mean, yeah, because to say that's been said a bunch of times too, and I know with like some of the stories, and obviously with some that I've heard, from stuff with your management, and just like it is. I've always been. I'm thankful for, like, I've said on mine, like right now we all my managers, like everybody I think gets along pretty good. Like we've had our share in the past that have come and gone. That my first center manager, I'll say this, I would probably, if I saw him right now, I'd probably clothesline his ass. I couldn't stand that man, because he was like I'll just say he was the last of like kind of the old breed. He tried to intimidate people, and he drove me crazy because he lived like, I'm not far from the Pennsylvania, like from the bottom of Pennsylvania. Like I'm not far from Pittsburgh, where I'm at in West Virginia. And he lived not really quite at Pittsburgh, but he lived probably close to an hour away. And we were in the preload, and he just had this like thing where he was gonna come in and like whip our preload to shape because we fucking had misloads or something. And he used to walk around if we had misloads. He'd be like, "You're not allowed to talk if you had a misload." So like he was like one of these fucking people. And I was just like and I thought like there's no way he'll fucking keep this up. So sometimes I would just purposely throw a fucking misload on one of my trucks just to make sure because he said he wouldn't stop until we didn't have any misloads, and I was like, fuck you, dude. You're the one that's driving an hour to get here, so fuck you. I'm going to put... Yeah, man.
Waste your gas.
I couldn't stand that fucking guy. But, yeah, I mean...
that's a mood.
Fast forward 17 years. My current center manager is... I get along with him very well. I've also known him. He got started... very young as on-road soup. I'll just say he's young as a center manager now. But yeah, anyway, I can't tell any stories. It's boring on my way right now, and I guess it's kind of it's euphoric in a way. So I just wanted to, I don't know, I don't have anything really good to say on my end, but
So Vegas, oh my God, how was that during the summer?
Terrible.
I mean, like, yeah, that's one of those places like we talk about. Like, we can't imagine what it's like being a driver and out there in Vegas, in Arizona,
it's
in Texas,
brutal.
all those hot.
It's brutal. So like the most they do is basically at every other center is they provide ice, they provide water, hydration packs. The my opinion, the basics. So there's I
the
was
starter pack.
Literally the
starter pack.
the UPS driver's starter pack.
yeah.
we didn't even have the fans at the trucks at the time. So a lot of the drivers, what they did is they have the 5-gallon bucket with the Roby fan on top and made them. This was before even Roby misters were a thing, and they put the little hoses in and throw in the ice that we got from the work and hope it lasted the day. So that was like most you could do, and just take. Thankfully, like they didn't, especially during the hot times. Well, at least like the first center I had, once again, phenomenal dude. Shout out to Adrian. I think he's at Paradise now. he's at one of those warehouse now. But like he didn't really care about our sport or whatnot to an extent. He knew it was hot. He knew if you have to pull over, take your time. Pull over, take your time. So we were thankful. I was thankful for that. But yeah, we did. Before I transferred is when I think we got like 2 or 3 new trucks that had the fans in it, and oh my gosh, the difference it makes. I was like, hold on, maybe we could add a mister system to these fans and that would help even more. We did. I don't know if they ended up doing it. One of my coworkers that works at the first center I worked at, he said that he hasn't seen it. So but yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. But like when you've lived there for so long, you get used to it, There's
right.
You get used to it. So like when I transferred to Colorado, it was like 89 degrees, and I'm like, oh man, it's beautiful outside. And my coworkers are like, are you not melting in all that clothes? I'm like, are you hot or something? Why are you sweating so much? Like, because the back of our trucks, they would straight up get to like 200 degrees. Like, I would straight up put my foods I want hot on the dashboard. 30 minutes later, I got nice piping hot, fresh hot food. Even in the wintertime, you can do the same thing in the wintertime. My Pat, the guy I jumped for, we made a little cardboard tinfoil box, and we would put like a burrito on top of the heater, and we put the tinfoil on top of it, and then it warmed up in like 30 minutes to an hour. We got fresh food that way.
That's a great idea.
Smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always said the fans, like they do at least make a difference. I remember when the idea of them first came, I was like, oh, it's just going to blow hot air. But I think it's like you said, though, it's also like if you live where you live and I feel like people just acclimate, you just kind of get used to it. Because if I went out there, I would look like a vampire from True Blood, just straight burning alive. And but I mean, it's it's crazy to know that you've experienced probably some of the hottest temperatures anybody's had on, but yet right now you're dealing with blizzard conditions. So the variety of weather, that's got to be a first. Because
it's crazy.
Like, shout out to my buddy Cole Murder. He's the one that's posted 115 degree temperatures on his Insta story before, but I know he don't have to deal with he's not dealing with any blizzards in Southern California.
No. And then so from California, from California to Hawaii to Nevada to Vegas, moving centers. How did you end up in Colorado?
So I've been with my husband since high school. So we're the high school sweethearts.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so my dream of joining the Marine Corps kind of transferred to him, and he ended up actually joining the Army. So, so when we found out he was going to go to South Korea and get deployed, or not deployed, PCS'd out there, and it was either we get married and then so then I can move to Colorado and start a life there because I wasn't having a good time in Vegas and I needed a new change of scenery, or I just wait for him to come back. And ideally what was going to happen is we get married, I move out here, I work out here for a little bit, and then I go with him to South Korea. But then once I learned more about the contract and whatnot, it was smarter for me just to stay here so I can continue my seniority seniority because I was still under my 1 year seniority at this point.
Okay.
So I was like, I'll just stay here because it's either he goes by himself for 1 year or I go with him for 3 years. And so I was like, I'll just stay here and I'll take like all 3 weeks of my vacation around my birthday and I'll come out there for the 3 weeks. And so that was the plan. So we just eloped, hitched it, and then right after we got married, like a month later, we were house shopping, and the first house that we put just the minimum that was asked, and we put it down, and 5 hours later, now I own a house. So
awesome.
Yeah, so we bought. It was in 2021 when we bought our house, and then I had put in my paperwork, and I will tell you right now, military transfers through UPS are a freaking nightmare. I hate them. They're terrible. I put it in like 3 or 4 months before I moved, and I'll say 3 months before I moved, and they had approved it, but they didn't give me a date of when I could move. So like, I'm calling the warehouse I'm gonna move to. Like, I talked to my center manager. He was like, yeah, I don't care, whatever, here's the paperwork you need, whatever you want, I'll help you. And I was like, cool. Shout out to Adrian. And then I called my current warehouse, and they're like, yeah, we would love to have you here, we need drivers. I was like, perfect. But HR wouldn't give me a date. And so finally I was like, hey, HR, I gotta sign for my house on this date, so I will be starting that following Monday. And they're like, well, that's not how this works. I'm like, no, you approved it. The warehouse clearly stated that they need the driver, so I'm going. Bye. And then so I remember too, the last day in Vegas, my supervisor's there. Once again, all of them except for like 1 or 2 of them were terrible. I filed harassment on all of them. This one guy had just harassment after harassment. I hope he's in a better place now. He put me on my favorite route, which is one of the rural routes out there, which I put on Instagram. Vegas, the hub that we have, the second hub I went to, we had gone all the way out to Mesquite, Nevada, which is about 1 to 2 hours away from Vegas. And in between Nevada and Utah and that sliver, there's Arizona. So there's like Littleton, Arizona, and Bunkerville. And so we would deliver all the way to there. We would deliver one exit before Utah. And then like 20, 30 minutes away from that exit is another UPS hub. And so we would drive all the way out there to deliver. And so that was my favorite route, was that little sliver of Arizona. They put me on it. And I remember specifically, I can't get in trouble now, it's been 3 years. I remember he told me that morning, he was like, I put you on this route so you can come help afterwards. And I was like, yeah, sure dude. Because no one knew I was moving. They knew I was transferring at one point, but no one knew I was leaving that day. I was leaving that night. I'm gone. And I told all my coworkers in that area, because I was going to be done by like 3. And so I was going to grab everyone's air and head in. And I told them, and one of my coworkers was also heading in. And I was like, hey, listen, I'm going to clock out of my board when we get there. And I need you to put it away for me. I can't walk past by that office. I need you to just dip. He's like, yeah, I got you. And like, he's like, my supervisor is telling, he's telling my union business agent that I have to go help. And he's telling everyone except me that I have to go help. And so the only time he told me was that morning verbally. My business agent was like, well, do you have any messages? I'm like, no. He's like, do you have any text messages? No. He's like, get out of there. So I booked it. I got there, clocked out, gave my keys to the car parker. I said, nice work with y'all. Bye. 15 minutes later, I get a text with some driver's name and number. And I was like, I'm gone. and then he proceeded to threaten me the next week while I'm in Colorado doing my ride along on my first day, saying, where are you? If you don't show up, you're fired. And I'm like, I'm in Colorado. I have it on speaker with my other supervisor. I'm in Colorado. Meet my new supervisor.
Way better than you.
Oh my God.
And I even had coworkers who were like, where are you? And I was like, I moved. And they're like, why did you tell us? I'm like, because I don't need no one to know. No one needed to know, because everyone in UPS has big mouths. I'm like, this is a DL. This is a DL situation.
Yeah,
That is true.
yeah. If you would have
That's
told
like middle
anybody, they
school.
would have found. They definitely would have found out.
Oh gosh, yeah, it would have been miserable. I mean, there was still nothing they could do. Like my union told me that once I transferred everything, like all my records, or supposedly all my records are wiped clean. Found out that's not fully true, but I was like, I don't care. FMLA right here, let's go.
And what's awesome with a supervisor like that too, that you know his head was exploding when you literally when you were like, I'm in Colorado, I bet his fucking blood pressure went through the roof.
He was talking about it for months afterwards.
Oh my god!
He was
You were
talking
just
about-
living rent free in his head.
I was enjoying it. I was talking to my coworkers that were at that center, and they're like, "Yeah, he's still mad about it." I'm like, "Good."
That's
My God,
Terrible person. I hope he's a better person now.
that's incredible. That's such a savage move, though.
that is. That's a good one.
One of my proudest union moments in life.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a pretty career defining moment, because there was a guy that I used to deliver to at this. He was on this receiving dock, and I finally recognized him because like he had retired probably when I preloaded like my first year, but I remembered him once I kind of got a look at him, and he had told me when he retired. I mean, he wasn't like leaving. But he didn't really. I don't think he said anything, and he was going to wait like another week or something. And it was like a day where they called and they were like, you know, they were needing him real bad. Like, dude, we're like, we need you. And he was like, oh, I'm done. And they were like, no, we're really behind. We're down. We had fucking 8 call-offs or something. You know what I mean? And he's like, no, I mean, I'm done. That's it. I was like, God, it just would be so satisfying to say that, be literally. But anyway, no, I think that move tops that one by far, because that guy was pissed off and they knew that guy was retiring. That is pretty. I wonder. It makes me wonder, like you wonder, like PCMs or something, or just like, I mean, if he just would fucking blurt it out. So that's I don't know. That's a good one though. But to go like, because I had in here in the docks too, to go away from the driving side for a minute or for a little bit with just with your Instagram name and everything with cosplaying. When did, I mean, I'm assuming when you were talking about your dad, kind of, I mean, like that, just, you grew up sort of in that, well, like that, with all the movies and shit. Like, so was it, when did that come about? Like, how old were you, like, when all that started?
Well, so like my family, we're all a bunch of nerds. Like, for like me, my mom, and my brother, our family vacations, we're going to San Diego Comic-Con. Like, everyone's like, oh, let's go to Guam and all. No, it's San Diego Comic-Con. So I started actually cosplaying, I think, in 2014. That should be like the earliest. That's like the first costume where I went to a convention and wore it. It was Laura Croft. It was a GameStop Expo in 2014, and I wore Laura Croft. I went and got my hair cut and dyed for it, because what are wigs? And I went all out on it, and I loved it. You know, and I didn't really know too much about cosplay. Like, I knew of it, but I didn't know too much until I started going to conventions and started seeing stuff, and I was like, I want to do that. And so that's when I started. And then the next costume I made was from a 1990s anime called Chobits, and I cosplayed as the main character Chi. Actually, I have her tattooed on me. Wow, fresh tattoo.
That it looks.
Thank you.
And that was the one. That's when you were in Japan, right?
Yeah, I just got this 2 weeks ago. So, most
awesome.
painful tattoo. Don't do hand tattoos, they hurt.
It looks good. It looks
Thank
good,
you.
though.
But yeah, that was my first costume I ever made. I borrowed a sewing machine because me and my mom couldn't figure out the Kenmore sewing machine we had, and then we couldn't figure out that one, so I just hand stitched it. And I didn't know that like the basics of sewing, like when you sew something, right sides, the side that you want to show on the outside, you sew them together so then the raw edge of the seams on the inside, like just very basic stuff. So it's ugly, it's terrible, but I was so happy with it at the time. It's even funnier because when we went and bought the fabric at Joann's, the fabric store, years later, I ended up working at that fabric store, and the person I asked fabric help with was my coworker, and he was like, "I remember you," and I was like, "Oh damn!" He's like, "How'd that costume come out?" I'm like, "We don't talk about it." I still have it too. I have it as like a memento, and like one of my goals in the future is to remake it like with all the knowledge I have now, and then like just do photo comparisons to like show other people too, like, hey, it takes time, and be kind of like another motivator for other people. But yeah,
cool.
After that costume, I just went swinging in. I was doing a whole lot. My senior year of high school, I rarely ever went to school because I was that person who was like education first. So like all the previous years, I did like summer school to get extra credits and whatnot. So my senior year of school, we had we had a total of 8 classes. There's only 2 I actually had to go to out of all of them. So I would just be like, hey, I'm not coming to school. I'll be in Georgia for a convention. And like literally every month I was just I was dating a guy who would pay for all that. So I was going to cons, cosplaying, and then I got into competitive costuming too in about 2015, 2016, like not far after I got into competitive costuming, and so then I started getting awards and stuff. So
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, it's very crazy.
Competitive costuming.
So it's
I didn't know either.
Yeah, it's cosplay contests, and they happen at conventions. So like San Diego Comic-Con has one, like every convention has one. And so, but each convention runs it differently. Like I run the cosplay contest and the cosplay department for a convention in Texas called DreamCon. So that's like my side thing. I do it as a hobby and whatnot. But yeah, I got really into that, and that's really all I do now is competitive costuming. So
like, what do they? I mean, obviously, like, is there different things that like judges like judge up, or like is it looks, is it makeup, is it?
It's a whole lot of things. It also depends on the competition. So I've learned Comic Cons are more of if you have big flashy, and it doesn't matter how you made it or anything or how good it looks up close. If it beats the 5 feet rule, you'll win something. So it's kind of like we stay away from those. We don't really like those.
What's the 5 feet rule?
5 feet rule. Okay, so when something looks good, like really cool, 5 feet away, but then when you come up close, you just like, it looks garbage. It looks terrible. It looks terrible. Like you got like see dents in it and like gluey, like it's terrible. So that's the 5 feet rule. So we avoid those. We don't like those because you don't get to show off your actual hard work. And so like especially with sewing, like to people who aren't really into costuming, most time people think armor is super hard, super impressive and stuff. Realistically, my humble opinion, sewing is extremely more difficult. It's a lot more difficult and a lot more time consuming. But anime conventions, they're more so on focusing on craftsmanship, and then nowadays they focus on craftsmanship and performance. So when you go on stage, if you're just walking on to show off your costume, are you in character? How do you look? If you're doing Master Chief from Halo, are you looking like that badass on stage and whatnot? Or are you doing a curtsy? Like, why would Master Chief want to do a curtsy? So, or you do skits. I primarily do skits, so I'll create an entire skit for the character, and I make my own audios and my own light cues and everything, and I'll do an entire skit. And then craftsmanship wise, it's most of the time it's how well is the costume made, is there raw edges showing, how accurate is it. Obviously there's some stuff that they'll take in keys, so like I'm a disabled person, so like sometimes there's certain shoes I cannot wear even if that character's wearing it, but if like I modify a shoe to look like it, it's not, there's no deducting points, it's always only adding points. So how well is that costume made, how well did you execute it, and did you all that stuff. And makeup is also included. Makeup, wig work. They don't expect shoe work, but I know some people who have made their shoes and they're so impressive. One girl, she made her shoe. It was a very basic costume, and she ended up winning a Craftsmanship award because she cobbled her own shoes because that specific character would leave a specific footprint behind in the mangas. And it was like, whoa, I don't even do shoe cobbling yet.
That's wild. I didn't know there was like a whole world like that.
Oh,
that
yeah.
is so cool.
And then we have like World Cosplay Summit, WCS, which is held in Japan, where there's you have to go through primaries like for United States. If you want to represent the USA, there's like 4 or 5 different conventions where you go compete there, and then if you win there, you go to a convention called Holiday Matsuri, which is in December. You could to compete to be USA, and then you go to Japan to compete as USA. Kind of like the model thing. Oh my gosh, what is it called? The pageantry.
Yeah, Miss America.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Or
Miss World, something like that. Yeah. So kind of like
I know
that.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's totally cool. So you've been doing it for a long time. So I can do you know how many different cosplays have you done? Like different characters?
How many do I have in my closet currently? I have done quite a bit. There's even ones like I don't have photos of. Man.
If you were to take a guess, it's got to be over 100, I assume.
I would probably say close to 100. Probably somewhere around there, because there's like a lot of basic stuff I've done, but there's also a lot of extravagant stuff I've done. So, but yeah, quite a lot. At least I used to do like 3 or 4 a month. Or I would do, so conventions normally last 3 days. So when I first started, I'd do 1 different costume each day. And then at like my peak time, I would say, I was doing 1 convention, I was doing 2 to 3 costumes per day. So, wow. And they're all different. Every convention, it's always a different costume. Even to this day, I try to do a different costume for each day of a convention that I've never worn. But I've also slowed down because I work 60 hours a week, so it's kind of difficult.
We feel that.
Yeah, right. That UPS chomps into that shit a little bit sometimes.
So, do you have a favorite? Do you what's your just favorite cosplay just to dress up and be?
Well, okay, so there's a difference. There's costume and character, right? So my favorite costume I've ever made, and like I have photos of, is my I have actually 2. They're both Sailor Moon themed. So one of them is my Sailor Alice, and I had won 2 or 3 awards with that one. And then my other one, which ties in with work, is I did a Sailor UPS driver. And it was probably one of my most popular ones. And it also, my previous management that I had, my most recent one, not Colby, we like him, he tried getting me fired for it. Tried getting me in trouble for it. But then I made sure I saved screenshots because UPS social media team, they follow me. And I had jokingly told them, and I was like, oh my gosh, because they love anime. So I was like, oh my gosh, wait till you see my Sailor Moon UPS crossover as a joke. And they're like, no, now we want to see it. I was like, oh, so I made it real quick, and like I used my visor from work and my belt and my dye, the simple things. But I had bought all my fabric that matched the colors, and it still is my most popular cosplay. I have people coming up to me like, oh my gosh, my so and so is a UPS worker and stuff. And what gets me even the most is like, oh yeah, I'm a UPS driver. Like, what? You're a UPS driver? Like, no, I'm just a random person cosplaying as a UPS person. I mean, there are people that do that, but I was just like, yeah, I am a UPS. Here's my dyad holder.
I mean, I could totally see that one being popular. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really thinking outside the box, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, just creating, taking that sailor image and making something that you do for a living and creating that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's
once
pretty
I did
awesome.
my Sailor Alice, I just kind of like, I want to do Sailor Scout everything. I'm not even a huge Sailor Moon watcher or like fan. Like I've seen it, but I don't like collect or anything from it. And I was like, I'm making Sailor Scout everything. So like I made my best friend Sailor I can't remember her name. X-Men white hair. Oh gosh.
Storm?
Thank you. I made her a Sailor Storm, and I helped her, which then inspired her to make Sailor Tiana from Princess and the Frog. Then I made my Sailor UPS, and I'm in the works of Sailor Kylo Ren, and I'm almost done. I'm a big football person. I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. Go Pack. So I'm almost done with a Sailor Packer outfit. And I'm going to wear I have a game coming up that I'm going to go wear it to. So
nice. That's awesome.
So yeah,
Bay. I'm a Tampa Bay's been a.
I'm sorry for you.
Well, the Tampa Bay has been my team, and the random. I can't really trace exactly how I became a Tampa Bay fan, but I've been one most of my life, or since I can remember. But I don't know if it was the helmets. They used to have these orange uniforms and a pirate on the side. I don't know. Something drew me to it. But I've been a lifelong Tampa fan. But with Green Bay, I was trying to think. What have you been a Green Bay fan? Has that always been your team?
For the most part, so I never was like, I didn't get into football until like middle school. And the only reason why I did is because my dad, who is from Wisconsin, he's from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, massive. I mean, if you're from Wisconsin, the likelihood of you not being a Packers fan is like 1,000,000 to 1.
That's what I was curious on. I was wondering what tied you to the Packers, if there was something. So that now I see.
Well, It's even funnier because I started getting to football, and I was like, well, my dad's a Packer fan because he's from Wisconsin. I'm from California, so I'm gonna be a Chargers fan. My dad lost his shit. He was like, absolutely not. And so like I was a little kid, so I was like, oh, this is fun making him angry. I'm gonna continue doing this. And then once I actually watched it and started getting into it, I was like, all right, no, I like the Packers. I like Brett Favre. And then Aaron Rodgers came, and I was like, I like Aaron Rodgers. And then just the camaraderie of Packer fans. It's very rare to find a rude Packers fan. Like I have one. He definitely doesn't work at my warehouse. I have one that I've met, but yeah, I love the Packers. I love going to the games. I love the idea that we own the team and stuff.
That's what I was just about to say. That's pretty awesome how that is, how they own it, how the ownership of it works.
Yeah, that's how me and my husband met, because I knew his brother from JRTC. His whole entire family is Packer fans, and so I came over one day because my husband's younger than me, so I came over to watch a game with him, and that's how I met my husband. And then eventually, later on, I got with my husband. And so it's nice having a Packer. I don't have to worry about him liking another team. We both have Packer tattoos.
Nice.
His mom loves Packer. It's a nice big Packer family. I don't have to worry about the Bears or anything like that.
That's awesome.
I was trying to think, has it been 14 years since that was that 2010 when Aaron,
I
when they
believe
won?
so.
Fuck. God, time moves quick. I was literally about to say, I was like, they just won that Super Bowl about a few years back, and then I was like, a few years back, wait a minute, hold on. And then I started rewinding. I was like, wait, I've been married. I'm married to my wife Ashley, but we've been together for 12. I was like, we weren't together yet. Fuck, when was that? And I was like, Jesus, yeah. So, I mean, still, there's always they got a good team. There's always hope. That's what's fun about the NFL. If a team gets hot, playoff time, right time, that's all you need.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Luke, do you have? I mean, I really don't have many.
I was going to say it was funny with hearing that cat, because if my daughter would hear this, my daughter wants, maybe by the time this comes out, we'll have a cat, because that's what she wants for Christmas.
Do it.
Well, we're getting one. It's just a matter of we're getting. We got some shit like, I know Dave's got a nightmare. I love cats.
Why don't you like cats, Dave? Hold on, we got to fight right now.
I have.
Dave's got a spiteful cat that just won't. Go ahead, and tell her about this. I'll throw my favorite podcast story in a minute.
No.
I'll let you explain.
Yeah. So no. Okay, let me take it back to the beginning. So, everything was cool. When we first got her, and it was me and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time when we were living with each other, and so we were like, let's get a cat. It'd be great, cool. And then maybe 2 years later, we got another cat. So we have a black cat and we have a white cat. Right. And so it's just all good. It's all gravy. And then I was like, you know what? I really want a dog. And then eventually we got my dog. Now this is where the white cat started going downhill. I don't know if she got jealous because all the attention was going towards, the dog or the other cat. And so, we could notice it was starting to get she was starting to get I don't know, not happy. And then we moved out of the apartment and we moved into our house.
Oh, that poor cat.
Yeah. So now she's even more pissed. But we're oh, it'd be great. She got the we could put their litter boxes in the downstairs bathroom, and they'll have their own little spot now. Won't be sharing a bathroom like us in the apartment, and all that. And then she started pooping outside the litter box and stuff, and just very unhappy. Next, a couple years later, about a year later after the house, we have my first kid. Oh. And so now there's a baby and there's another human in the house. So she's just off her rocker. Fast forward 3 years later, we have our second kid, and so we got 2 boys, 2 cats, 1 dog.
She's got diabetes. When did that?
My white cat.
Required?
Yeah, it's my. I don't know when the diabetes happened, but
yeah, somewhere along all this, that cat acquired diabetes. Out of stress.
Somewhere along all this. So we got to shoot her up with insulin twice a day, in the morning and at night, and she's just recently for some reason she would take the needle like an absolute champ. But then now, most recently, for some reason, she's starting to hiss at me every time I try and stab her with a needle.
Are you sure she just doesn't like you anymore? She could feel that energy. She could feel that angry energy from you.
She definitely doesn't like
cat,
me.
Man.
She definitely doesn't like me. And I'll let Luke tell the story why. Go ahead, Luke. Tell her what happened.
Well, we were, we're in episode 130 now, but this was we'd been podcasting for a little bit at that point, but we'd had a couple people on. Chelsea and Dusty were on that episode, and Nate was Dave's cousin. Nate was doing the sound stuff, so Dave sends me a message. He's like, I got to go upstairs. My cat, did she shit in your bed or puke in your bed?
Shit on my pillow.
Or she shit on your pillow.
Shit on my fucking pillow.
Dave's
my wife texts me. She's like, you got to come upstairs now. I was like,
so I'm trying to not. I don't really. I was kind of fucking. I was a little ripped in that episode, and I was trying so hard not to laugh because they were telling a story. So I was like, I gotta say something. I messaged Nate, and I was like, Dave's cat just shit all over his bed, and I was like, Danielle's pissed. I was trying so hard not to laugh.
That cat hates you. You did something to that cat. You don't know what, but you did something.
I helped make 2 kids appear,
and a dog.
And a dog.
Yeah, cats can be spiteful, man.
know.
She's pissed off. She's like, you crowded this place. It used to be.
And then with her being a diabetic, we all know what happens. You just
yeah.
So and the next thing you know, we're finding piss all over the place. We're like, God damn it. And like,
now
it's
is
like
the
worse.
piss because of her diabetes, or she just being that spiteful? That's the question.
That is the question. And then so like, I don't know what happened. So my parents are in town, and they moved down to Virginia Beach. I'm up in New York. They moved down to Virginia Beach once my dad retired, and but they're in town because my birthday is Tuesday, and so they're up visiting us and staying here with us, and the one downstairs room that we have, which is where I actually normally do this, but I had to come upstairs because they're downstairs sleeping right now. But in that room, we usually keep the door shut, and the animals aren't allowed in there. It's like the family room / like playroom for my boys. And so my dad yesterday, he leaves the door open to the room. And he ends up taking a nap. Like, my dad ends up taking a nap down there on the couch. And when he wakes up, and then he gets up and he shuts the door like an hour later. Little did we know, or he knew, the cat was in the room. Let me tell you, I haven't even told Luke this yet. Every way she could have excreted some type of bodily fluid, it happened in that room. There was piss on the blankets that my mom brought up. She pissed on my mom's blankets. She shit on the floor and then threw up on the rug. Like, it was. I'm ready to put her outside.
She's never going to.
I'm like, honey, strap a collar on her, put her out. Like, I'm done shooting her up. But yeah. So it's been. But yeah,
that cat's so spiteful. It's never gonna. That cat's gonna live forever.
Dude, if she outlives my dog, I'm gonna be so mad.
Oh, I feel like she is going to now.
She'll live to like 25 just to spite me.
That's my oldest cat. My oldest cat, he's 13. He loves me. He adores me. He's my little mouse. But he hates my husband. Like, he has a love-hate with my husband. My husband will leave a pile of his clothes just on the floor in our living room, and then my cat will go piss on it. His name is Dumbo. He'll just go piss on it, and I'm just like, my husband's like, I swear, and I'm like, don't leave your clothes on your floor. You know, he's helping you do your chores. I feel bad.
I love cats,
that's my argument for cats. Like, that's like, so I told her, I was like, after these two are gone, no more.
No.
We can't have any more. Listen,
I love
my cat. My cat is worse. Like, my kids are easier to take care of when they were born, and still growing up, they're still easier to take care of than that cat. Like,
you gotta
if
get
you
them
can
when
have
they're
a cat,
kitten.
you can have kids.
When you can get them when they're a kitten, because then you can train them to be around all of that. That's like the best time.
I know.
So.
And that's where it's like we kept bringing them in just one after another.
We literally live. We're right down the road from a humane society, and that's what we're going to do. We're just going to go adopt. They have, I mean, honestly, we don't even have to do from them, but we wanted, because we had a cat who I loved to death, Walter White, rest in peace. He came to us as a stray, but like, for this one being for my daughter, we can't, like, what was awesome about him was he would be, I mean, because he came from the outside, he was probably, I don't know, he was probably 60% outside, 40% inside. But we can't, like, there would be times where he would be gone for like 3 days on end, and he would come back. And we had him he was with us for 5 or 6 years, and he actually tragically got ran. I mean, he got ran over. We're by a main road, and he was across the street, and it was pretty shitty. But even aside from that, like, I mean, obviously that was terrible, but him being gone like that for days, like with my daughter Willow, she would freak. So I was like, if we have a cat, we're committed to having an inside cat. And I'm good with that. I grew up with it both, but my my mom had got a cat the year before I was born, and he lived to be 17 or 16 or 17. So I've always loved him. We're getting some shit done. Like, I'm getting some upgrades and stuff with my house, and it needs a few things done. We're getting the electrical. That's like the next thing we're going to finish up before Christmas. So that's why I'm kind of putting it off now, to just have like one less thing running around. But yeah, we're definitely going to get one. So it's by Christmas time. Yeah, she'll have herself a cat.
Oh shit.
I recommend this. I did this with my best friend Sean that I mentioned earlier. He wanted a cat, so I flew out to I'm the crazy cat lady. I've grown up with cats. My family, my mom, she has currently 5 cats. It's a mom and her 4 babies. We had 7 cats in that house at one time. It was my cat, my brother's girlfriend's cat, and those cats. I moved out here after my cat passed away, and my husband's like, we got to get you a cat. And now I have 5 cats again. I also was on disability for a while, so I fostered cats. So at one point, I had like 27 cats in my house at once. They were all kittens, so they're all tiny, and I just threw them all in one room almost. But yeah, I had a lot of cats. But I recommend getting an older cat and a kitten together. It's so much less work on you, because now you don't have to teach the kitten much, because the older cat will teach it. And that's what I did with my best friend Sean, and he was like, this is great, I love this. So because cats are lonely creatures. Like, they can be by themselves from humans, but they do need a companion. They will get lonely. Like my cat Oscar, I found a cat on my route that I was working one day. It was sick. I called my warehouse. I was like, yo, this is when I first transferred out here too, and the management I had when I first transferred out here, they were also awesome. I was like, can I bring this cat? I'm in a rental van. You know, there's no doors open. Can I bring this in? And she's like, yeah, bring it in. I got a carrier, because we have warehouse cats. And so I brought it in. I brought it home. I spent over $1,000, and the vet I took it to, I had just moved out there. The vet I took it to, terrible people. I won't mention them. Terrible. My cat died like 2 weeks later. And I blame them, because I knew what was wrong, and they wouldn't admit it. But my cat Oscar got really attached to the cat, was best friends with them, and then when he passed away, he went into a super depressive episode. So then my husband threw a fit, and we went to go get another cat, even though I didn't want another cat. And that's when we got Smokey, the one that was meowing and walking across earlier, and we got him as a kitten, and things went just totally fine. So highly recommend 2 cats, but specifically a younger and an older. And some places do discounts. So like my friend Sean, his place we went to, they did the Mr. Miyagi deal. So if you got an older cat and a kitten, you didn't have to pay for the older cat. All the fees were waived for the older cat, so you just pay for the younger cat.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, man,
I never knew that.
Oh, I'm a crazy cat lady. If you got any cat questions, shoot me in DM. I can answer everything.
Why does my diabetic cat
hate you? I think you answered your own question earlier.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Okay, Luke, anything else, buddy? Do you have anything else?
I'm so glad we got to throw the cat thing in there. I'm glad we ended on that. I'll end it on that note. That was a good one.
Awesome. Let me ask you, we always like to ask our guests too, do you have any questions for us, possibly? Is there anything you want to know?
I had one. I don't remember now.
That's okay.
I don't remember. Well, I mean, what? So I don't know if you guys answered this on one of your podcasts, because you have too many episodes now. What made you guys start the podcast?
Oh.
You could get the short or long version.
I mean, I can say in kind of a summary, it wasn't, we weren't going to do a podcast originally. It was Bobby and Dave, Bobby, UPS guy Bobby. He was I think it was them two. Like, I was the last person that was kind of brought in. There was 4 of us originally. It was Dave, Dave, Bobby, and Brad Mosier, who is a driver down in Florida, and we were going to do like YouTube videos. That's what we were originally going to do. And then COVID happened, and I don't really remember how like we got shifted to the podcast.
I don't remember either.
It was
like how we shifted to
I
it,
think
but
Dave and Bobby kind of had the idea because Brad, as usual, I was the last one to know anything because I was so low tech. I was telling you that like I said, Dave, I'm like the little kid with the floaties, and Dave's just leading me along. I was so low tech then. I didn't even have earbuds because I didn't talk on the phone. I just jammed out the music. I had 3 sound bars that I played all day. And finally they were like, you got to get some headphones or some earbuds or something. We got shit to talk about. Like, dude, I don't think I ever told you this, but I remember that first day when like we had you on the phone and you're like, we're just gonna put you on speakerphone and put you in my pocket, and like I'm thinking to myself, who is this cat? Like, how does this guy not have earbuds? Yeah, and I can't hear shit. Like, it's a 4-way conversation. I've got it on speakerphone in my fucking pocket, like I can hear you guys. But
right in his front pocket.
But no,
Customer comes by. What the heck is coming out of his pocket?
Yeah, right.
Poop box? What is that?
But Bobby, yeah, it was like Dave and Bobby, I think, had the idea, and then we just sort of shifted to a podcast instead. I don't know why. I don't know if it was because of COVID. It's not like we wouldn't have been able to do YouTube videos together anyway, because none of us lived. We all were spread out. Yeah. But it was just a thing. They said we're going to switch to a podcast, and I just, being the last one on the list, I was just like, well, I'll be along for the ride however long it goes, and we've been doing it ever since. And obviously we took a year-ish off, a year and a half off, but I think it was Bobby and Dave that started. I don't know. I honestly can't tell you what shifted it from the YouTube videos. I really don't remember why we did that. Or what because we didn't really. I
don't know why either, but I feel like it had to do something with COVID, because I had a video idea that was going to be like ridiculous and like way overdone, but like, and then COVID happened, and then Bobby and I were like, well, I guess we can't do the video now, because like we were actually going to like meet up and do the video, and it's like, oh, well, I guess we can't do the video now because of COVID. And so I don't know, maybe it was just then we were like, well, if we can't do videos, let's, I don't know, do a podcast. Like, I've done a couple podcasts before that, so I knew like how to do one and how to start it up and all that. But I think that's what happened.
And Bobby also, because I remember him saying to me too, because like they were like, we're going to do a podcast of like, but not, we're going to try to make it more of a comedy thing. And there wasn't anything out there of delivery drivers and of a comedy. Like, there's a lot of union stuff out and a lot of like business stuff, but there wasn't really anything humorous either. So that was kind of like, it was sort of, I think in a sense we were like, we could put our video ideas and just put it on a podcast and let's see what it goes, more or less like that.
Pretty much.
And that was, that kind of was how it got started. But yeah, it
got started just as COVID happened. Yep.
Look at COVID bringing all this stuff.
COVID, bringing everybody together.
COVID like bringing in, starting careers, starting podcasts, starting fucking. I mean, it's hard to believe that we're almost 5 years removed. This March will be 5 years when that all shut, and that's what's crazy, because it feels like. It almost feels like yesterday, but it feels so far away sometimes at the same time now, because I feel like time moves so slow. But yeah, I'm glad to be further away from COVID than not. God, that was a shitty time.
It's awesome.
Yeah, because I remember listening to you guys when I was in Vegas, and then when I was on disability, I never listened to podcasts. And I was like, I'll just save it for when I go back to work. And I had a whole year and a half of catching up, and then you guys were like, we're taking a break. And I was like, wait a second. Wait, I just caught up. Wait.
Oh, my God.
We would get started again. Just take us a little while. But yeah, it's good to be. It's definitely good to be back though, and we appreciate you coming on and being a part of it. And I'm glad that this worked out because I know it was a little bit. I mean, it's about midnight our time. It's 10.
Oh yeah, huh? It's
your
10 my time. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great, and you know we'll be in touch.
Oh
For
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So don't go anywhere. Don't hang up yet, so we can say goodbye off air here. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you. Guys, you can go find her at Gimme More Cosplay on Instagram. I'll also put her IG in the description of this episode as well. So thank you guys. Go follow the podcast as well at AITD Pod, and go follow Luke right at Real Nomad Delivery Guy. Find some funny videos of him just yelling at, I don't know, whatever it is he yells at out there. People. People in cars.
He has animals. He has cute animals on route. My favorite black cat.
Oh no! Oh
No!
More!
No! Don't tell me this.
Oh my God!
Oh man, I ruined the end of the podcast.
The episode is now completely ruined. I'm just kidding.
On that note,
yeah. I hate to tell you.
No, my little sweater man.
He crossed the bridge.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, and I was curious because there was another white cat with him that I didn't see for a while, so I kept thinking maybe she took him inside, but nah, he's gone.
Now my cat's upset hearing this. It's okay, Smokey. You're okay.
oh my gosh.
Sorry.
That's actually kind of funny. What a way to end it. R.I.P. Cockroach Kitty.
We'll see you all more. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you all next week.
Later, everybody.